In terms of the pandemic, it has also forced us to change the cadence of our governance. It's forced us to postpone General Conference twice now until 2022. In these uncertain times, what do you think we need to do differently in order to sustain vital, relevant, and effective ministry in the United Methodist Church? And speak specifically to your context.
Well, first, about the postponement of General Conference, I think it reveals and it leaves us with a problem that we have already been talking about for some time, namely the issue of center and periphery in our global church. That the center in our present structure, the center is so important that when it can't function, which it can't right now, at least the major part of the center is General Conference, and it can't function, then we are left without governance. Then we are left without that which should be the place where we make decisions. And that is a big problem because we have such a focus on the center, and the center is so clearly geographically and financially defined as it is today. So on a global scale, I think this has reinforced my support for the Christmas covenant and for a more regionalized form of governance in our church that can function even though we can't travel as much, and has the ability to give guidance and policies for the work in the region that it has responsibility for. So I think that's one thing that this situation has actually taught us, that we are pretty handicapped when we have to meet like that to do anything.
Right. And you talk about the center in two ways here, Ola. You talk about it as a geographical center, and certainly on the connectional table, we talked a lot about the fact that we say we're a worldwide denomination or a global denomination, but we're very US-centric in reality. But you also talk about it in terms of a governance center. So much focus and attention being placed upon General Conference. You mentioned certainly legislation like the Christmas covenant perhaps impacts both of those. But as a person, as a European, how do you experience that? And granted, a lot of folks who will be watching this video will be from the US and don't have the perspective that you bring from your context. So as a European, what's wrong with there being a center?
Well, culture matters. There's a famous thing that says that culture eats strategy for breakfast. I mean, we can have any strategy and we can try to be global in our approach. That's all very nice, but if it doesn't adapt to the culture where we exist everywhere, then it's gonna disappear, because culture eats strategies for breakfast. And if we don't recognize that to a higher degree than we have done, then we are going to be ineffective in the future. I think that the idea that we move decisions closer to the place where these decisions have effect is the right idea. We need Africans to decide about how the church should function in Africa. And we need Europeans to decide how we can function in Europe, because we know our own culture, we live it, and we are immersed in it, so we can incarnate the message and the life and the ministry of our church in this part of the world. I think I have met so many brilliant people in my years in the connectional table from the US, and I consider them to be experts in the church in the US. But I've also had to struggle with trying to give them an image of what's it like in Europe, what's it like in Copenhagen to be a Methodist. and to inform them and to give them an image of what I have to, what my mission is like. And if they presume that they can guide my mission in Copenhagen from a global body, then that simply doesn't work.
So you're talking about being still a global church, but being more regional in our governance, more regional in our ministry and focus due to the cultural and contextual differences, basically allowing context to shape ministry. So in a global church, then what still keeps us connected?
That's a very good question. And I think actually we have been working on that question on a global level, especially through the work that the Standing Committee on Central Conference Matters has been doing on a general book of discipline, where the attempt has been to say, can we say these parts are the core parts of what Methodism is about? These are what we cannot let go of and still call ourselves Methodists. So these things which are core to our beliefs and our ministry, I think these are fit for being a global issue. And that, of course, is our Wesleyan theology. It is our history and traditions, and it's a lot of issues that have been said to be in this general part of the future, perhaps future book of discipline.